Robin, what is your biggest motivating factor in preserving with the exercise routine being set by your fitness trainer?
Well, definitely the more endurance you accomplish, and basically it just makes you strive to set goals to do more and more and just get that muscle up, and yeah, it's just a great feeling to be able to do more.
To actually do it, and then to keep doing more.
Yeah, that's the key, is you have to keep setting goals. You know, like you said about the push-ups, you know, if at first you can only swim 2 lengths of the pool, when you get up to doing 20, you're going to feel pretty good about that.
Right. It's those first few weeks with anything, whether you're starting a new job, a new fitness, new eating habits, it's those first few months that are the most difficult. Once you get past that, you look back and think, geez, it's nothing. What was I so worried about at the beginning? So get over that hump for sure. And Tina, we've talked a lot about these struggles and roadblocks that everyone encounters. Maybe share a few of the victories and the good things that have happened to you in the last 6 weeks.
I think one of the biggest kind of aha moments I had was about a week and a half ago when I went grocery shopping. And I've become one of those annoying people that stops their cart and reads all the labels now.
Yeah.
But when I get home with the groceries, I walk to the top of the stairs because I live in a 3rd floor apartment and it's all walking. And I had 3 or 4 bags of groceries with me, and I stopped in the doorway and I'm like, I'm not winded. When did this happen? Because usually by the time you lug all those groceries to the top of the stairs, you're kind of winded, but I wasn't winded. So that was to me a victory, you know, not to be huffing and puffing and have to sit down for a few minutes before I could put stuff away.
And that seems like such a minor thing or a small thing, but huge for you.
It was. And there's lots of those little things that happen and you notice as you're going along. Getting dressed for work the other morning, because I work in a business environment, I always have dress pants on and things like that. And I kind of was getting dressed, and it was a good thing I had a belt on, because I can now take my pants and pull them right down without even unbuttoning them.
Excellent!
So little victories like that are what keep you going too.
That's what keeps you going. Absolutely. And Cindy, why do you think obesity is so prevalent in today's society? Why are we seeing these numbers blowing like crazy?
I think one thing that I'm finding is today's society is more about me than about what you're doing with the community. I tend to find, like, if I'm walking through the door, people have a tendency to walk ahead of you and shut the door in your face. They don't think about who's walking behind them. When you go to a restaurant, people don't say thank you to the waitress. It's all about, what am I going to get and how fast am I going to get it? And it kind of reminded me of we're not Little House on the Prairie anymore. We're more Pulp Fiction now. And I find that through relationships, when things happen and it's an unhappy ending, you tend to do different things to protect yourself from that judgmental role that people tend to have. Like, first impressions are so important. You walk into a job interview and you got to be dressed a certain way and have just so much makeup on and so much jewelry on and wear certain types of shoes. And I tend to find that for myself anyway, one of the reasons that I gained the weight was like a protective mechanism. Because you don't know how people are going to react to you. You don't know how people are going to treat you. So the first thing you do is put yourself in a position where you're not going to have a chance to do that. Right? How many good-looking guys out there are going to want an overweight woman, right? It's a great protective mechanism. And with society today, if you're not young and slim and pretty, you ain't got a chance. Because that judgment thing comes up right there.
Well, speaking of that too, we've all heard the news lately, or maybe you haven't, and I'll enlighten you just so you know, Jessica Simpson. Did you hear that big kerfuffle with her? Years ago she did the movie, and she, with Daisy Duke, and had her size 0 shorts on, or whatever they were. She is an actress. She needed to prepare for that role, lose a lot of weight to get into those Daisy Duke shorts. Well, now she's gained a few pounds in the last little while. She got back up to her normal, which is a size 6. And now she's at size 8. And there's all these horrible pictures in the news about the fact, and all this talk, that because she'd gained a few pounds, she was overweight. So, Robin, how did you feel when you heard that story about Jessica Simpson, who really, right now, at her age and her body frame, is a perfect size? How did that affect you?
Well, I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate here and play it from both sides. For one, yes, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Any guy would turn their head if she was walking down the street in normal circumstances. But unfortunately, that's the way it has become, and she's put herself in that public eye, and that's her job, and that's kind of like, they have to take it with a grain of salt, because it's really not going to go away. Every other week you hear that person's too skinny, then, you know, they'll put on a little weight, and then they're too chubby, and then they take off some weight and they're too skinny again. I think that in Hollywood, that's just what it's become, and it's unfortunate, but I mean, they're making some pretty big dollars that they should have thick enough skin for it.
Okay, so something like that too, to lose weight, or Bridget Jones with Renee Zellweger. Normal had to gain all that weight to become Bridget Jones, and then she did that a couple of times back and forth. So yeah, it just seems to be that when you're in Hollywood, you don't dare gain or lose weight. They see you as the way you are. Now that leads to my question with you, Tina. As you start to drop a few pounds, have people noticed it? And do they treat you differently now? Even though it's been 20 pounds, there's the difference there. Are they nicer, or are they opening the door for you? Or are you being treated differently?
I think in a lot of ways I do get treated differently. A lot of people have noticed it, and most people who know me well have said that they noticed it more in my face so far. So, you know, from here up, okay, noticed a difference there. But I have to admit, I was walking through, I work downtown, so I was walking through Commerce Place and into City Center and so on the other day. And there's always traffic on those pedways, because nobody likes to go outside, so we don't travel the pedways. Yeah. And there were two gentlemen walking along, and one of them did stop and look, and I'm like, I'm not sure I really like somebody watching me. And I think maybe, you know, Cindy was talking about society and that protective wall that you put up, and I think sometimes that maybe that's back here somewhere why I did put on the weight in the first place, was to become invisible maybe. Unfortunately, when you are a fair bit overweight, you're quite the opposite of invisible. You tend to be kind of, sometimes you get some sneers and some comments made, but I think now that I'm, you know, making a change in my life, that hopefully people will notice me for the right things.
That's right.
I mean, maybe that's a bit idealistic to think that way, but I'm hoping that that's what they're noticing first, is the healthy life that I'm creating for myself.
That's what I was just going to say too. It's about the weight, but it's about your health first. And we hear about the, you know, diabetes and everything that overweight tends to or could bring you. So the fact that you're starting to do this for yourselves and nobody else is the most important thing. And I'll bring that, I just want to ask them each another question, then certainly open it up to you if you have any more. With this challenge, I mean, I think we sort of talked about this, Cindy, right off the top. There's the good and the bad with it. The fact that we're phoning you from Easy Rock all the time, we're getting you to go work out with Richard Simmons and be on stage, taking you out of more than just a normal comfort zone in so many ways. We didn't look for people who could speak well and come and do all these great things for us. They have been team players since we started. So what are the goods and bads? Maybe the worst thing about this and the best thing about this?
I think the worst thing for me, because I'm a very private person, that coming up here and having to sit on stage here and answer questions, that to me is really difficult. So to me, although this is kind of fun too, it's also the hardest part for me. Harder even than the exercising. But the best part for me is the fact that you guys are sitting here and listening to our stories, that you're interested enough in knowing what's happening in our lives to cheer us on, that you go on to the 104.9 website and you leave comments to encourage us. And the next best part to me is that some of you will come on there and you'll say that even though I wasn't able to be a part of this challenge, I'm learning from the tips that you guys are getting. I'm starting to exercise at home, I'm starting to do things, and I'm getting healthier because of what I'm hearing you're doing. And I think that for me, the fact that I'm able to do this for you, as well as myself, to me, that's the best part of this.
Isn't that nice? Thank you. That's very nicely said. That was just perfect.